If you're watching this video, it's because you've expressed an interest in working from home as a customer service provider. And in this video, I'm going to be explaining everything that you need to know to help you to decide if this opportunity is right for you. Over the next few minutes, I'll be explaining how you can work from home as a customer service professional, taking calls for some of the biggest brands in a variety of industries. I'll be telling you about the kind of companies that you could be working for. I'll be explaining the kind of calls that you'll be receiving. I'll cover the equipment and tools that you need to have in place before you get started. Of course, I'll be explaining in more detail how much you can earn as a customer service professional. I will also explain the kind of people that we are looking for. Then, at the end of the video, I'll explain how you can apply for this opportunity if you think it's right for you. The Virtual Call Center Network provides marketing and call center services to a variety of businesses, and in order to provide call center services to our clients, we hire independent contractors to work from home as customer service professionals. We provide call center services to some of the UK's biggest brands, and we help these companies to handle the large volumes of calls that they receive on a daily basis. Our clients outsource the task of finding call center agents to us, so we recruit people like you who are happy to take these calls from home and get paid an hourly rate for doing so. So, what does it all mean to you? And how does it all work? We have an application process in place, and if you're successful with your application, we get you registered onto our digital platform. You will then have the opportunity to work for one of our industry-leading clients. In order for you to work for that company, we'll need you to complete around 5 weeks of training, so you have the knowledge and the skills that you'll need to be able to handle the calls that you receive. Once you've completed the training, you simply select the days and hours that you would like to work. Then, when companies receive calls from customers, those calls are redirected to you, and you receive these calls through either your landline or your computer. You then get paid an hourly rate depending on the company you are representing at the time of receiving these calls. We recruit for different clients at different times, and although you might start by working for one particular client, at a later stage you could choose to switch between our clients, or even work for multiple clients at once. At this point, I should make it entirely clear that should you decide that this opportunity is something that you'd like to take advantage of, you need to be made aware of the fact that this opportunity would not represent an offer of employment. You'd be working as an independent contractor. So, just to reiterate what it says on the screen, this is the opportunity to work as an independent contractor and is not an offer of employment. As an independent contractor, you're self-employed and subcontracted under the Virtual Call Center Network to provide a service to some of the UK's leading retail brands. Now, a lot of people that I speak to are not familiar with this concept, but in actual fact, it really is a lot more common than you may realise. And there are actually lots of industries where this is really quite common practice. You might not have given it much thought before, but minicab drivers, for example, they're usually self-employed. So, when you order a cab, the driver that turns up and picks you up will no doubt be self-employed. If you order a takeaway from Uber Eats or Deliveroo, the driver or cyclist who brings the food to your door will also be self-employed. If you ever enlist the services of a personal trainer, or if you hire a nanny to look after the kids, or when you go to get your hair cut, your barber or hairstylist will also usually be working on a self-employed basis. If you were a web designer or you work in IT, there's a good chance that you'd be doing so on a self-employed basis as well. So, although when you first hear about it, the idea of being self-employed or working as an independent contractor might sound out of the ordinary, in actual fact, it's a lot more common than you may realize. Now, whether you're working as an independent contractor or you're working as an employee, there are pros and cons. There are positive and negative aspects in both cases. And on this slide, I'll be explaining those for you in more detail. So, the first downside of being an independent contractor is the fact that you don't receive benefits like holiday pay and sick pay. Of course, if you're working as an employee with an organization, these are things that you would benefit from. As an independent contractor, you're responsible for providing your own tools and you're responsible for the costs of your own training. As an independent contractor, you are also not paid for the time you spend in training. Of course, if you were employed by a company, you'd be provided with the equipment that you need, and your training would be paid for by your employer. These are the downsides of being an independent contractor or being self-employed, and they're pretty much the same, regardless of which industry that you're working in. So, again, if you're working as a personal trainer, if you're working as a nanny, if you're working as a beautician or a barber, you pay to do the relevant qualifications and you do those qualifications in your own time. It's very uncommon for a company to pay for these things for you if you're working as an independent contractor or if you're working on a self-employed basis. So, those are the biggest downsides. But there are also lots of positive aspects associated with being self-employed, and I'm going to explain those in more detail with you now. Now, the biggest positive aspect of being an independent contractor is the flexibility that it offers you. When you're working with us as a customer service professional on a self-employed basis, you have the flexibility to choose the days and the hours that you want to work. If you choose to take advantage of this opportunity, you do have to work a minimum of 15 hours per week. But you decide when you work those hours. You get to build your own schedule in 30-minute blocks, which is perfect for people who have other commitments. For example, if you have family commitments, maybe you're looking for work that fits around the kids' schedule. Maybe you're at university and you need work that fits around your own class timetable. We actually speak to a lot of people who are trying to start their own business, and they do something like this because it gives them an income, but at the same time, it allows them to work around their main business commitments. We also speak to a lot of people who are retired, and they do this to top up their pension and to keep themselves busy with all the spare time that they have on their hands. So, flexibility and the fact that you can build your own schedule in 30-minute blocks is a huge benefit of being an independent contractor. As an independent contractor, if you have something coming up that you need to deal with, you simply don't schedule yourself to work on that day. You don't need to ask a manager. It's entirely up to you which days you choose to work and which days you choose to have off. The next benefit of being an independent contractor is that, when you get paid, there are no taxes deducted from the payment that you receive. So, when you get paid, you receive payment for your full hourly rate. Since you are self-employed, you're basically running a business from home. You're running your own mini call center. And since you're running a business, it means you get to offset a lot of expenses against your income, which reduces your tax liability. This means you can end up paying a lot less tax than you would if you were working in employment. Now, we're not tax advisors, we're not accountants, so I'm not going to go into too much detail here. But if that's something that you do need help with, we can certainly point you in the right direction. Next is the fact that, as an independent contractor, there are no limits to how many hours you can work. There are no limits to how many clients you can service, so you have a lot more control over your earnings. You might be in a position where you're working as a customer service provider and you're generally happy with the money that you're earning. But then something might come up. Maybe the car breaks down, or maybe the dog gets ill, or maybe you decide that you want to go on a nice holiday with the family. As an independent contractor, you could decide just to increase your hours to make the extra money that you need. Remember, you're not limited to working for just one of our clients, so you could do another certification, and you could actually service 2 clients to really boost your income. Then, when things settle down financially, you can reduce your hours again. When you're in employment, the hours that are available to you and your earning potential is dictated to you by your employer. A massive benefit of being self-employed or being an independent contractor is the fact that you're working from home, so you can save a lot of money. Working from home means that you can save a lot of money on things like travel costs. You can save a lot of money on food. And when you work in an office environment, you often have to maintain a certain level of professional appearance, which can mean spending money on clothing, which gets used predominantly for work. When you're working from home, it doesn't cost you anything to get to your office, because your office can be your bedroom, it can be your living room, or maybe it can be a spare room somewhere in the house. Food is a lot cheaper, because you can eat whatever's in the fridge, and you can wear whatever you like, as long as it's comfortable. The next one, for a lot of people, is the most important one. And that's the fact that when you're working from home as an independent contractor, you save so much time, because you don't have to travel to and from the office or wherever it is that you would normally work. Now, I want you to think about something for a moment. If you're used to having a commute time of 30 minutes to get to and from work, that might not sound too bad. But since you have to go to work, then you have to commute back. That's 1 hour of your day spent just getting to and from work. If you work Monday to Friday, that's 5 hours per week. If it takes you 45 minutes to get to work, and you work Monday to Friday, that works out as 7.5 hours per week. If your current commute time is 1 hour, and you work Monday to Friday, that's at least 10 hours per week, before you factor in things like the time you spend sitting in traffic, or waiting for delayed trains or delayed buses. Think about all the things that you'd rather be doing with that time. Could you be spending that time getting in better shape, taking care of your health, and going back to the gym? Maybe you could spend that time pursuing another hobby or an interest. You could spend that time resting, or maybe you could spend more time with loved ones and family. We've already spoken about how much money you can save working from home, but to a lot of people, saving time is just as important. For some people, saving time is even more important than the money you save, as it means you have a much better quality of life. Working from home is a huge benefit of being self-employed, and a lot of people in employment simply don't have that option. Now, the final point on this table is independence, and what we mean by this is that you don't have a manager breathing down your neck and micromanaging you, always telling you what to do. Now, of course, each client that you work for will have certain KPIs for you to work towards, and you will be required to work towards a certain standard. But once you've completed your training and you know how to meet your KPIs, you're free to get on with it without having someone on your back all the time. So, those are some of the pros and cons of being self-employed. If this sounds like something that might be right for you, keep listening, because next, I'm going to explain what you need to have in place in order for you to get started. Now, as I mentioned in the previous slide, when you are self-employed, you're responsible for gaining the relevant knowledge and skills for you to be able to carry out the job. So, you'll need to do a client certification or a training course. Classes take place online. They're led by an instructor. And when you're doing a certification, you'll be doing it as part of a group with other people who will be going through the same process as you. This gives you a chance to bounce ideas off each other, and since you'll be dealing with the public, you'll be doing a lot of role plays with other members of the group in order to get you ready for taking calls in real life. The cost of the certification is £50. The duration of this class is typically 5 weeks. Now, I should make it clear that you're not paid for the time that you spend in training. However, upon successful completion of the certification, you are guaranteed to be offered a contract to work for your chosen client. In addition to completing your certification, there are a few other things that you need to have in place. And first of all, you will need to have a compatible computer or laptop. Depending on the client, you'll need to have a call center headset for taking calls. And you'll also need to have a USB headset for your training. And of course, you'll need to have access to broadband, and depending on the client you are working for, you may also be required to have a landline telephone connection to your home. Now, if you do apply for this opportunity, there are certain specifications that we look for from your computer or from your laptop. But if you do apply, we help you to carry out a number of systems checks to ensure your computer is compatible before you start your training. In addition to having the correct equipment, you will also need to have a quiet room in your home where you can work without having any kind of background noise and without any kind of distractions. Now, most people I speak to have some of these items in place already, but they usually don't have everything that they need. So, I often get asked the question, how much it costs to get started. So I've totaled everything up, and I'm going to explain it to you in this slide. This table is a summary of everything that you'll need to get started, and all the costs involved. I'll run down this list, and I'll explain why you need all of these things. This table does, of course, assume that you've already got a suitable computer or a laptop. It assumes that you have a broadband connection, and it also assumes that you have a landline. So, assuming that you already have those things in place, the next thing that you'll need is a criminal background check. The reason you need to do a criminal background check is because you'll often be speaking to customers who may wish to carry out a purchase, which of course means that you'll be handling sensitive information. And as you'd expect, the companies that you'd be working for need to take measures to ensure that their agents are responsible individuals. A basic background check is £25, and we would provide you with instructions on where to purchase this online. If you've done a criminal background check within the past 6 months, then you can use the same one that you did before, and there'd be no need for you to do it again. As I've already explained in a previous slide, you will need to do a certification to give you the skills and the knowledge to do the job, and that costs £50. You'll need a USB headset with an inbuilt microphone. The one that we would recommend costs £20 online, but you don't have to buy the one that we recommend. You can go for whatever headset you like. And if you already have one, then there's no need for you to purchase another one. Depending on the client that you choose to service, you may also need a call center headset and a phone to plug into your landline. You can purchase this online. The one that we recommend is in the region of £22, but again, if there is one that you prefer to purchase, that's totally fine. And again, if you already have one that you're happy with, that's fine as well. Now, I've put in a row for miscellaneous items, and this really does vary from person to person, depending on what you already have at your home. But you may need to purchase things like network cables, or you might need to purchase telephone extension cables. You might need certain sockets or certain plugs. So these items are just a few little extras that, in my experience, typically come to around £30. Now, I'm guessing some of you will be looking at these figures and will probably be quick to point out that the total should say £147. And yes, you're right. But I've just rounded it up, just to make it more straightforward. In addition to your startup costs, there is an additional £40 that you need to pay on a monthly basis, and this is to cover a number of things. Part of this fee goes towards the digital platform that you will be using on a daily basis. It also covers the costs of rerouting calls to your landline or computer, and also providing you with 24/7 technical support and providing you with a help desk if there's anything that you get stuck with. It provides you with support dealing with customer queries by live chat, and also it covers costs like admin costs associated with payroll, processing your payments, banking, and generating invoices. This fee is only payable on months when you're working, so if you don't work that month, you don't have to pay it, as you wouldn't be utilizing any of these services in that particular month. Now that I've explained the costs involved in the opportunity, I'm now going to move on to tell you about the client we are currently recruiting for, the calls you will be handling, and I will also be telling you how much you can earn working as an independent contractor. Now, at this stage, I do need to make you aware of the fact that at the Virtual Call Center Network, we're actually bound by a non-disclosure agreement. What that means is that we're not able to disclose the actual names of the companies that we recruit for. But although I can't tell you the company name, I can still tell you a lot about the company, and I can tell you about the types of calls you would be handling. The company that we are recruiting for at this moment in time is probably the most widely recognized brand in terms of manufacturers of domestic coffee machines and coffee capsules. If you decide to proceed with this opportunity, there will be 3 main types of calls you will be taking. You will be taking technical calls, orders calls, and you'll also be taking what we call info calls. With your technical calls, these are calls from customers who have a coffee machine, but they are having a problem with that coffee machine. You'll be trained to provide customers with the help, support, and guidance needed to resolve their technical issue. With orders calls, you'll be receiving calls from customers who wish to place calls for additional coffee capsules. Your job on these calls will be to process the customer's order, but also to make the customer aware of any special offers or promotions that are taking place at that time. Then finally, you have your info calls. These are calls from customers who may be having an issue with an element of the service that they are receiving. So you might be speaking to a customer who has ordered an item online and the item hasn't turned up. Maybe you'll speak to a customer who has received an order, but unfortunately the order has been damaged in transit, or maybe the incorrect item has turned up. With info calls, you can be dealing with a wide variety of issues, but regardless of the situation, you'll always be provided with the relevant tools and resources to resolve the issue. Now, in terms of your certification for this client, class takes place live. It takes place online. And when you attend a live online class, it looks a little bit like a Zoom video call. So you'll be able to see your tutor on screen. I should point out that although your tutor may be on camera, you are not required to appear on camera yourself. So you will not need a webcam to attend class. In your training, you'll be covering product knowledge, service knowledge. You'll be learning how to use the client's tools, systems, and resources. You'll be carrying out role-play activities where you'll interact with other members of the class, taking it in turns to play the role of the customer, play the role of the agent, and practicing the types of situations that you'll be faced with when you get on the phone for real. So, as an independent contractor, how much you earn is mainly down to you. You decide how many hours that you wish to work on a weekly basis. Most of our clients pay between £10 to £11 per hour. Most opportunities require you to work a minimum of 15 hours per week. In the next couple of slides, I'm going to run through a couple of examples of how much you can earn depending on how many hours that you choose to work. So, in this first example, the agent has been working 15 hours per week over a 4-week period. The client that they are working for pays £10.50 per hour. So, over a 4-week period, this agent would have done a total of 60 hours. If you multiply 60 by £10.50, it means that this agent's revenue for a 4-week period would be £630. Remember, we don't deduct any taxes, but we would deduct your platform fee, which means that at the end of 4 weeks, this agent would receive a bank transfer for £590. In the next example, the agent has been working 37 hours per week over a 4-week period. The client that they are working for pays £10.50 per hour. So, over a period of 4 weeks, this agent would have done a total of 148 hours. If you multiply 148 by £10.50, it means that this agent's revenue for a 4-week period would be £1,554. Remember, we don't deduct any taxes, but we would deduct your platform fee. So at the end of 4 weeks, this agent would receive a bank transfer of £1,514. Now we're almost at the end of the video, and we've told you pretty much all there is to know about the opportunity and what's involved. So, in the next slide, we're going to explain what we're looking for from you. First of all, I do like to make it clear that although it is an advantage, you don't actually need to have any customer service experience, as all the training you need is covered as part of the certification. However, there are certain qualities that we are looking for from our customer service professionals. So, here are a series of questions that you need to ask yourself. And frankly speaking, we need you to be able to answer yes to all of these questions in order for you to be a suitable candidate. So, the first question: are you a good communicator with a professional phone manner? Are you happy with the hourly rate? When we directed you to watch this video, we would have sent you details of the hourly rate of the client we are recruiting for. So you do need to be happy with the hourly rate for the opportunity to be worthwhile. Are you a self-disciplined and self-motivated individual? Are you an independent individual? Are you comfortable with non-face-to-face communication with your colleagues? Are you happy spending long periods of time by yourself? Are you confident enough to work with support but without supervision? Do you have a quiet, distraction-free area to work? Are you planning to do this on a long-term basis? The reason we say it is important that you are planning to do this on a long-term basis is because it will cost you time and money to get started. So if you only plan to do this for a few weeks, it probably won't be worth it for you. Are you a reliable individual? Are you the kind of person who does what they say they will do? As I've mentioned before, this opportunity gives you a great degree of flexibility. You choose the days that you wish to work. You choose the hours that you wish to work. But despite the fact we offer flexibility, we do need you to be reliable. We need you to turn up on the days that you say that you're going to work. We need you to work the hours that you say that you're going to work on those particular days. So that's why it's important that you're a reliable individual, and that's why it's important that you are the kind of person who does what they say they will do. So at this stage, you really need to be honest with yourself. You need to ask yourself if you answered no to any of the above questions. And it's really important that you are honest with yourself, because we're very open about the fact that if you do answer no to any of these questions, then we have to say, this opportunity, it isn't going to be right for you at the moment. If you do answer no to any of these questions, and you still proceed with the opportunity anyway, I can pretty much assure you that it just won't work out. It won't work out for you, and it won't work out for us. And it will be a waste of time for everybody that's involved. So, if you answer no to any of the above questions, I would suggest that this opportunity isn't going to be right for you at the moment. On the other hand, if you can answer yes to all of these questions, then you're definitely the kind of person that we are looking for. And you're the kind of person that we want to hear from regardless of your previous experience. So, if you are the kind of person that we're looking for, the only question left to ask yourself is, do the pros outweigh the cons? We are very upfront about the fact that there are both positive and negative aspects of this opportunity. But when you think about it, there are positive and negative aspects of all opportunities, whether you are working on an employed or self-employed basis. So it really comes down to you as an individual, and it comes down to whether the positive aspects are worth it for you. So on this slide, we've listed the pros, we've listed the cons. We will go through these one last time very quickly, and it's over to you to decide. So the pros. These are the reasons why people choose this opportunity. People take advantage of this opportunity because of the flexibility. With this opportunity, you choose the days you want to work and you choose the hours you want to work. People choose this because it allows them to save time on their daily commute. People take advantage of this opportunity to save money on work expenses, things like commuting expenses, lunch expenses, childcare, clothing expenses, to improve their standard of living. In some cases, people choose this opportunity just to earn an additional income. Some people choose this opportunity to have more control over their earnings. One benefit of this opportunity is that you can reduce tax on your earnings, and finally, you get to work independently. You don't have a manager breathing down your neck. So next, onto the downsides, the cons, the reasons why people choose not to do this opportunity. So the first reason why people sometimes choose not to take advantage of this opportunity is because there are potential startup costs of around £150. The second reason why some people choose not to take advantage of this opportunity is because you don't get paid for training. Training typically takes 5 weeks, and you don't get paid for this time. However, training does take place online, and remember, once you've successfully completed your training, you're guaranteed to receive a contract which will allow you to start work as a customer service professional. So that's pretty much everything, and I'm going to finish up by asking these 2 questions one last time. Are you the kind of person that we're looking for? And do the pros outweigh the cons? Do the positives outweigh the negatives for you? If you can answer yes to both of these questions, then we'd love for you to get in touch. If you would like to be considered for this opportunity, all you need to do now is click the button that has appeared beneath this video. If you have any problems with the application form, or if you are not able to view the button beneath this video, please visit vccnform.com and you will be directed to a page on our site that will allow you to complete the application form.